we're talking now about the final two parts. This is quite a short video, this one here, because this doesn't tend to be that much of an emphasis in the A level. So we're talking about inequalities on graphs. Now, we've done quite a bit of this already, so I'm going to just jump straight in. We've got an example here where we've got some lines. We've got 12 plus 4x, so this line here is L1, because you can see clearly it's a straight line, 12 plus 4x. We've got another equation, which is y equals x squared, so this is line 2. Find the coordinates of P1 and P2. These are the points of intersection. Well, we know this, okay? We solve these simultaneously. We can solve these back to back. So 12 plus 4x equals x squared. Let's get our values. So when we do that, we get a quadratic. Remember, quadratics gives up to 2 solutions. Minus 2, clearly that's this one here. 6, clearly that's this one here. We get our solutions. Now that we've done that, what's the point? Well, we're going to write down the solution to the inequality 12 plus 4x is greater than x squared. So what does this really mean? 12 plus 4x is line 1. X squared is line 2. So the question is just trying to say to you, when is line 1 greater than? Greater than you can think of as meaning higher up, yeah, having bigger y values. When's it above? When's line 1 above line 2? Well, it's all of this section here, right? Because the other one's down here. But how do we answer it? We answer it in terms of x, again, is the key part. So between minus 2 and 6, that's when the straight line is higher up. Okay, and that really is the whole thing for that. Okay, that's all we need to do. So it's just between minus 2 and 6. Notice that they use the word hence. Hence really means that part A is meant to be a massive help. So almost always you should be using the earlier parts if you hear that. That's it for that section I'm going to talk about. The final section now is we're going to talk about regions. Now, this tends not to come up very often, in all honesty to you, but it's really not too difficult. So let's just have a quick look. So it says shade the region. So shade the region means we're shading in part of the graph, right? That satisfies this one and this one. So how do we do this? Well, again, we might want to get this y on its own, right? So we might say that this is 2y is less than minus x plus 14. Let's divide by 2. That does mean dividing everything by 2. Okay, so that means it needs to look like this. So we're going to draw that. This one here is a quadratic. You might have guessed we're going to get our critical values. We're going to sketch it. So let's do that bit there. So I've got my line sketched. I've got the key coordinates of my roots for the quadratic. What should I do next? This one says y is less than. So that sort of says like under the straight line. Yeah? So go to the straight line, under the straight line. Then at the same time, we've got this one over here. This one says greater than. So this means like greater than means above, or equals to means on the line. So above or on the line of the quadratic. So I'm looking for the bit that's under the straight line and above or on the quadratic. Well, really I'm just describing this then, no? I'm talking about this region here. So if you are asked to shade a region, which is quite rare, as I've said to you, it's not too bad. You just kind of get the y bit on its own, I always think is the easiest way of doing it, and read it as like above and below. So the pattern here is kind of the same as before, that when we use inequalities, we're thinking about the y aspect of a coordinate grid. And there we go, that takes you to the end. Okay, so I would say sort of the bulk of this chapter really is discriminant work, making sure your skills with sort of quadratics in terms of simultaneous equations and finding roots. And so for me, that really is kind of the main part of the chapter. Okay, but I hope that you now feel that you are in a position to have a really, really, really good go at that. Okay, so that has been Simultaneous Equations, Chapter 3, Year 12.